Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Dino. This is Patch's Repair Shop. It's a really cold morning this morning. We've got the little log burner on in the workshop already. And today we're back on with a Kawasaki KLR250. We're going to do the rear wheel bearings, the rear tyre, try and adjust the rear brakes up again, get the new chain on, and see what else we can get done at the same time. If you haven't followed this full series, the playlist is pinned in the comments below, so you can watch all of the work we've done on this bike so far. We found it sitting in a garden in the middle of London. It's been sat there for about 3 years, and we want to take it to some vintage enduro events for the first time for me and see how we get on. So just a light recommissioning, doing all the work that needs to be done. So let's crack on, shall we? Back wheels off, rear brake hub's out, cush drive and sprocket is out. You've seen me do all that before on this bike too. So I've just taken the tyre off. Now I'm out of breath. I haven't got a tyre machine, so I've done it manually. That was a little bit of a game. So normally my old man would do my tyres for me. He's not super local. I wanted to get it done, so we're having to go manually. So, yeah, I'm going to get my breath back and let's do the rear wheel bearings. So, we've got a circlip in here. That needs bigger circlip pliers. So, one circlip out, and then I think we've got one bearing this side, one bearing the other side, and then there's one bearing inside of the sprocket carrier in there. So 3 bearings in the kit. Right, let's see if the fateful bearing puller will work again. So bearing separator, a lot of you have seen me use this before. We've got these, that sort of half of a ball end, if you like, fits down inside the bearing, or it does once I've ruined the bearing. So that fits down inside the bearing. I've had a bit of a fight so far, guys. Right, our trusty little bearing puller on this occasion, I think I'm confident to say for the first time ever, didn't work. Tell you why. The race is smaller than the smallest adapter I got, which has to fit in there. and then turn in the race. So that didn't work. So old school, bit of alley in the vice, clamped it, big brass punch through there and knocked the bearings out. On the brake side of the wheel, there's 2 bearings, and on the other side of the wheel, there's 1 bearing. Now I'm hoping that there's 4 bearings in the bearing kit, because there's also a bearing in that sprocket carrier. So let me go and dig that out. Right, so bearing kit, we've got some fitment grease and we've got 4 bearings. So 2 for the brake drum side, 1 for the sprocket carrier side, and 1 for the actual sprocket carrier itself. So I've got the wheel sitting on a piece of aluminium, and we got 3 identical bearings. So we know 2 this side. Let us use said fitment grease. We've got our little bearing driver, which isn't going to work. Happy days. Right, we'll find something else to knock that in with. Well, it's certainly going to work to begin with. Beautiful. Shame my bearing driver didn't work. Bigger shame the missus doesn't have her own toolkit, because if she did, I could hammer one of her sockets. If she ever watches these videos, we're in trouble, lads. Right, next up is this bearing, which has already fallen apart. I wonder if our little bearing puller will fit in this one. Yes, it's going to work in this one. She's either going to make a big bang and do nothing, or maybe a big bang and start to move. Who knows? I'm sure I felt some movement before that slipped. Well, I was just about to put some heat on it and the bearing disintegrated. Always wear goggles, kids. Oh, guys, you know what I've done? You know what I've done, don't you? Less speed, more haste. Now that bearing would have popped straight out if some clever clogs had removed the circlip. And now we've gone and pressed the bearing up against it with a lot of force. Right. Note to self, kids, pay attention, slow things down. One circlip. It's going to be one of those videos, guys, where I just make a hash of everything. However, the bearing is out. Let's give that a clean up and put the new one in. Right, guys, so I've given that a clean out. We'll put some fresh grease in here. And right, that goes in there. That fits in there. We got this clip to go back in here. He says, come on. Circlip to go back in there. This cap goes on there. That's moving now. That was a drama when it didn't need to be. So that is that side of it done. Right, I am going to clean this rim up, get the tyre back on, but first of all I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee, so see you guys in a minute. Right, I've got the tyre on, and let me tell you, it was a lot easier going on than it was coming off. So, new tyre, new inner tube, new rubber band inside the rim. I gave the rim a bit of a clean up inside. And that's all back together. So, little job I wanted to do here is, I think this lever needs to go over a couple of splines. Maybe. If I can get it off. I have had it off before. Right, let's get this lot back in the rear wheel and on the bike with a new chain, shall we? Right, I've just been putting the rear wheel back on, guys. So my plan was put the rear wheel back on and then bring you guys back in to put the chain on. Every time I put the rear wheel on this bike, it's hard work. And it shouldn't be, should it? And it suddenly dawned on me, I wonder, this block here slides into a channel that is on the inside of the swing arm. And it would make sense to me if that also pivoted. It is round at the back and it has a circlip, but it is solid. Now, I don't know if this is meant to move or not, but I'm certainly going to try and make it move. So this could all go horribly wrong. Right, brute force brute force is telling me, guys, that that is probably meant to move because it's coming out. Right, you didn't get a lot of that. It came out. It's just corroded in there. A few big whacks with the copper mallet and it popped out. So I'm going to assume that that should move in there. So let's give it a clean up. Right, now it's all cleaned up, guys. Just putting some new grease back on the pin, and we'll pop the pin back into the back plate, spin it over, pop the circlip on the back. We'll wipe all the excess grease off, and then it can all go back together. And with a bit of luck, it will be a lot easier to refit the rear wheel then. Right, next up, guys, let's get the chain on. Now, last week we took this cover off, changed the front sprocket. We'd already changed the rear sprocket, as you've seen today as well. We just need to put the chain on. So we've had a good clean up in here. Nothing's perfect. I know I've said it before, we're not restoring it. We're just making everything serviceable and work again, and go and use it. Right. Right, this has got a standard split link. Thank God, because if you're one of my regulars, you know how much I love my chain link tool. Right, so split links in. Plate over the top. We hope, if you get it in the right place. There we go. Right, so closed end goes that way, because that is the way the chain is pulling. Right, it's on. Thank God. Right, before we tension the chain up finally, we'll do that with the weight on it, as we normally do. I'm going to set it to So it's got these adjusters on the back, guys, yeah? So it's got a number on, so you move this, yeah? Creates a bigger gap here, which means you can move the spindle forward or back. So we'll set it to 2 there. Ooh. Gonna back it off to 1.5, maybe. Okay, well, we'll get it back on the ground and put some weight on it first. Right, guys, that's us all done for this week. We've got the chain on, we've got the new rear tyre on. What else do we do? New rear wheel bearings, all back together, rolling again. We're making great progress. If you enjoyed the video, guys, and you've made it this far, smash subscribe, hit like, drop us a comment. I'll see you again next Sunday. I'm going to stick a video here and all over the place for you guys to click on. I'm Dino, this is Patch's Repair Shop, and I'll see you guys next week.